morning, everyone, or good afternoon. It's not a live recording, so I'm not sure if it's going to go up probably around Sunday lunchtime. I've already had people asking me why football philosophy, the football philosophy channel. I'm going to be doing a program on player ratings, and in the player ratings, football philosophy will come into it a hell of a lot. I'll be talking about why players should have done something else, or maybe why they did well, and the philosophy of football that I hold. And I'm sure lots of the things that I hold dear to my heart when it comes to football philosophy is held by lots of the best coaches around the world. And I've actually listed a few of them, for example, a few of the philosophies that I believe in. Brian Clough once said, if football was meant to be played in the air, God would have put grass in the sky. What he meant by that was keep the ball on the floor. Simple as that. Football is meant to be played on the floor. Keep the ball on the grass as much as you can. Try not to play the aerial route. Lots of different reasons for that. If you pass a ball through the air, your teammate who you're passing it to has to concentrate much more, not a little bit more, much more on getting his touch right, rather than being able to look or think about what he's going to do with the ball before it comes to him. So wherever possible, pass the ball along the floor, keep it on the ground. A lot of these little notes that I've made, one links into the other, but number two, the importance of a good first touch and pass to the nearest available red shirt. So you must have a good first touch if you're going to be playing football. You must concentrate on your first touch. It's absolutely of paramount importance, especially when some players might not pass it along the ground, and you've got to concentrate on getting it right. So the importance of a good first touch is absolutely vital. Number three, pass and move, or occasionally even pass and stand still, but basically be available. So you give your pass, you move to make yourself available so that the person on the ball can always give it you back, or the person who he passes to can give it back. You're constantly moving around. Very occasionally you can pass the ball. Well, it's not very occasionally, it happens quite a lot, to be honest. Sometimes you can pass the ball and the opponents that are around you move. The opponents don't stand still very often. They often move. So sometimes you can give a ball and you realise that your opponents are moving away. So you can stand still and wait, so long as you are in space and looking to make yourself available. So pass and move, or pass and make yourself available, which sometimes could be done by actually standing still. Number four, let the ball do the work. There is the odd exception, but usually it's better to pass it than to run with it. Sometimes, obviously, you can run with it because the defence are backing off and maybe your forwards or your teammates are nearer to the opponents than you are. But as a general rule of thumb, it's better to pass it, let the ball do the work, pass the ball around, try not to run with it as often as anywhere near as often as you actually pass it. Number five, the simplest, easiest pass is usually the best option. Don't overcomplicate it. I've already quoted from one manager who wasn't a United manager, and I'm now going to quote from Bill Shankly. We've had two absolutely fantastic managers, and I'm sure there's some great quotes out there. But this quote is one of my favourite quotes. It's from Bill Shankly, who said, "Football is a simple game that's complicated by idiots. Give easy passes, make yourself available." Simple as that. Number six, now getting into the defensive side of the game, the importance of defensive shape. Get behind the ball. Get behind the ball. As soon as the opposition have got the ball, you need to be behind the ball. Maybe you can have one man, a striker who maybe doesn't get behind the ball as quick as everybody else, but you need to get behind the ball and get into your defensive shape the moment that the opposition have got the ball and mounting an attack. Try not to be chasing back. If you're chasing back, you're already struck. They've got an advantage. They've got an advantage if you're chasing back. A lot of people like to see players racing around the pitch, chasing after people. If you can be in defensive shape, sometimes, well, not sometimes, a lot of the time, you don't have to win the ball. It's not necessarily about you winning the ball. It's about having enough players behind the ball that a lot of their passing lanes are closed off, and you make them go sideways or you make them go backwards. So whether you're in 4-4-2 or 5-3-2, and Ollie's used both of those in recent weeks, get behind the ball. Certainly the 8 players, and maybe even your number 10 as well, which would make 9 players. Against Leipzig, Van der Beek played at number 10 and was forever behind the ball when the opponents were pressing us. So get behind the ball quickly, do your work early, and be behind the ball. Whether you're in 4-4-2 or 5-3-2, I believe that it often, during a game, morphs into 4-4-2, whatever other formation, if you were playing 5-3-2 or if you were playing a diamond. When you're playing 5-3-2, for example, if you're left back, if we've got, like we had in Paris, Telles playing at left back, if he pushes up the field, Luke Shaw obviously drifts towards the left back spot and covers for the left back. So while Telles is slightly further forward and Shaw's more towards the left back spot, it becomes like 4-4-2. All of these different formations generally morph into 4-4-2. We played a diamond against Leipzig the other night. Obviously, Pogba was to the left of the diamond, Fred was to the right of the diamond. But if you watch footage of it, you will see regularly Mason Greenwood getting back behind the ball on the right hand side, so that when we were defending, we had 4 across the park, sometimes 5 with Van der Beek as well. So 4-4-2 is my favourite way, and I honestly believe that no matter what formation you're playing, it often morphs into, obviously not throughout the game, but in certain situations in the game. If you're playing 5-3-2, it often looks like 4-4-2 when you're attacking, and if you're playing a diamond, it often looks like 4-4-2 when you're defending. So get behind the ball as soon as possible, get into your defensive shape. The next one, eliminate unforced errors. I mentioned this on a fan cam quite a while ago, and a couple of people had a little bit of a dig at me, and I thought it was a bit funny that I was using a phrase that I've borrowed from tennis. 1 or 2 people actually ridiculed me and say, "Why are you comparing football to tennis?" I'm not comparing football to tennis. I'm borrowing a phrase from a different sport. That's all I'm doing. Lots of people talk about deep line midfield players as quarterbacks these days. There's no quarterbacks in soccer. Let's call it soccer because they're obviously the quarterbacks from the States. So people can borrow certain things. You know, they like to think these days occasionally of a deep line midfield player spraying passes about, they call him a quarterback. It's just a phrase borrowed from a different sport. Unforced errors is a phrase that I've borrowed from tennis. In tennis, a coach will tell his player he must concentrate. It's okay to lose points when you're under stress, when you're really stretching, but when you've got an easy shot, concentrate hard and don't miss your shot. Don't put it in the net, or don't put it wide of the line or beyond the baseline when it's easy. So do not give it away when it's easy. So in football, we need to eliminate unforced errors. When I'm doing me player ratings, this will get discussed a lot. When players give passes away where they're not under pressure, I consider that to be an unforced error. When they give a pass away, particularly when they're not under pressure from the opposition, but also when the pass is a relatively easy pass and you miss it. So if sometimes people talk about stats, and we will be using stats. It's great when stats back up your point, and I will be using stats. I'll probably use stats in this video. But if somebody says to me a certain player had an 83% pass completion and another player had a 78% pass completion, so he played better, that argument doesn't necessarily hold water. The player who lost the ball more often, he might have lost the ball when he was under pressure from the opposition, when he was in really difficult situations, and you've still got to try and find a pass. You've got to try and make a pass no matter what situation you're in. But somebody who gives the ball away more often when you should not be giving the ball away, that is the most important thing. So you need to eliminate unforced errors. as I say, apologies for borrowing a quote from tennis coaches, but I call them unforced errors. We need to eliminate them from the game. You need to eliminate them as far as possible from your team. You need your players to concentrate and get the simple things right, get the simple passes right. Don't give the ball away unnecessarily. The opposition team will make it as hard for you as they possibly can. Don't make it easy for them. And finally, it's probably not, I'm sure there are other philosophies as well that we'll get touched on, but just one that I've always adhered to over the years: when in doubt, boot it out. It's an old-fashioned one. There's a propensity these days for playing out from the back, particularly with these days now where from a goal kick you can actually be inside the penalty area, so the keeper can give it you. I saw the other night for the first time, I saw an actual defender take the goal kick and give it to his keeper inside the 6-yard box. So teams are starting to play this more and more often, where they're actually playing the ball around in their own penalty area. Now, that's all well and good so long as you get away with it and the top players can do it. But you will get caught on a very odd occasion, or obviously if it's more than an odd occasion, they'll have to stop it. But I'm not talking about boot it out straight from the offset every time. What I'm talking about here is the occasions where the ball's bouncing. Perhaps you've got an option of either trying to take it under control, and there might be a striker bearing down on you. If you've got any doubt whatsoever. When I say boot it out, by the way, it doesn't necessarily mean boot it into Rose Ed. It means boot it away from the defensive situation, from your defensive third. So if possible, you clear it upfield. If that's not possible, you clear it into the stands. But do not take unnecessary risks. So there's just a few outlines about of football philosophy. I can hear the rain bouncing against the windows. Don't know how that's sounding on there, but there you go. So that's just a few little things about football philosophy and why the channel is called Football Philosophy. Lots of those different things they'll all get spoken about on regular occasions, and probably even more so when I'm doing player ratings and deciding which players have done the right thing and done the wrong thing. Okay, moving on. Someone's already asked me, offered to me a different team suggestion than the one I've already mentioned for the Arsenal game tomorrow. This is being recorded Saturday. As I said the other day, they're all pre-recorded programmes at the moment. I will be going live at some stage soon, but they're all pre-recorded. I'm recording this, it's roughly midday Saturday, and I'm going to be watching City play Sheffield United shortly. I'll be finished just in time, I think. So someone's put forward to me a different team suggestion for the Arsenal game from what I said, and I do actually quite like it. It's in a diamond formation again, as we used against Leipzig. He's got De Gea in goal. He's got the usual back four: Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, and Shaw. And then at the base of the midfield, he's got McTominay. I've added to that, or Matic. I thought Matic did fine the other day. He got substituted. Because he was on a red card. I thought he was very unlucky to get a red card, by the way. The number of times you see players just handing people off as they've got the ball at the feet. You very rarely see a yellow card. You very rarely see a yellow card given for someone holding somebody off. He did catch the guy in the face, but maybe that's because Matic is 6'4". I don't know how tall his opponent was, but it'll probably be McTominay anyway. But McTominay or Matic at the base of a diamond, with Bruno to the right, whereas obviously Bruno normally plays in a number 10 role. Bruno to the right. I do like the idea of Bruno to the right and Fred to the left. This is what this person has mentioned to me. Bruno would need to be a bit more disciplined though if Van der Beek's playing at the point, which is what's suggested here, which is the same as I suggested anyway, Van der Beek. I thought Van der Beek played a great game the other night against Leipzig and deserves another chance, but obviously you can't play with two number 10s. So in this diamond formation, Bruno would have to play slightly to the right, and he'd have to be a bit more disciplined than he normally is, not bomb forward quite so much. Fred to the left, Van der Beek at number 10. And then two forwards, obviously they call it split forwards these days, with your number 10 getting in between if they're pressing with a 3. But then obviously when defending, as I've mentioned earlier in when I was talking about the philosophy. Van der Beek will be dropping into the middle. We would end up at times with 4 across the middle when we're defending of Bruno, Van der Beek, McTominay and Fred. And then, so if Van der Beek's at number 10, yeah, your 2 forwards I mentioned, obviously Rashford should start or will start. And then either Greenwood or Cavani. I don't know if Cavani's fit, fully fit and ready to start a game yet. But what I've seen of him, I mean, obviously, I saw a stat the other day. He scored more goals in the top European leagues in the last so many years, 250 goals. I'm sure the stat said only Messi and Ronaldo have scored more goals than Cavani in the top European leagues in like the last 10 years or something. That's not to be sniffed at. He just drifted a shade offside when Bruno put him through the other night, but he took it so calmly and lifted it over the keeper and into the sort of almost into the roof of the net. It was, despite the fact that it was offside, you can see what a finisher he is. You saw when he came on as a sub against Chelsea how sharp he was round the box. As soon as he came on, he made a run to the near post. He checked backwards, made another run to the near post, and then got a flick on, and it just went into the side netting, probably a foot wide of the post. He looks like a proper centre forward, and if he's fit and fully ready to play, not only do I think maybe they should start him this weekend, but going forward, I think Cavani is going to be a difficult player to keep out of the starting lineup. He looks like a proper number 9, and the type of number 9 that we've not really had for a while. Anthony Martial's not as lively in the box as Cavani looks, but there's different things to a number 9's game. Anthony Martial the other night had I've heard people criticising him from the other night. Too many people think that if a striker's not scoring goals, not creating, he did end. Obviously, it was a penalty. He did end up with a goal and an assist. It was a brilliant assist for Rashford. All right, was it the 4th or the 5th goal that? But it was a brilliant assist where not many players could pick the ball up on the wing, run in at the defenders. He beat at least one man, and I think he evaded another challenge while keeping his head up and seeing a pass. Usually, the people who run in like that, usually they've got their head down and they're looking to get into a position to get a shot in, perhaps, or even to be able to find space before they look up. Whereas Martial's running with the ball, he's actually running with his head up while keeping the ball under tight, close control. It really was a brilliant run, and he slips it into Rashford, who took a touch and smashed it in for his 3rd goal. So Martial did end up with a goal and an assist, but that wasn't my main point behind how well he played. His teammates will have been over the moon with him the other night. United were under pressure for long periods. He battled for balls that came out of the back 4 and out of the midfield, and he got in front of his centre back, and he won a few free kicks, and those free kicks are vital. They're absolute vital bits of breathing space for your back 4 to get up the field, for your teammates to get up the field, for them to get a little bit of a breather, and for them not to be having to concentrate absolutely at to the maximum 100% right throughout the game. You just get a little bit of a breather to be able to not just get a breather, i.e. you can have a little bit of a walk if you want, but a breather concentration wise. So Anthony Martial, he played a defensive role, if you like, as a centre forward, and did it absolutely superbly. Make no mistake, Anthony Martial had a great game the other night. And then when the game got a little bit easier, after we'd got a goal or two, he got his goal. He won the penalty as well, got his goal from the penalty, and got himself an assist as well. Another player who I thought got a little bit of undue stick was Luke Shaw. If you look at the stats from Luke Shaw the other night, again, as I've said, I don't always like going off stats, but it is nice when the stats back up what you've actually seen or you think you've seen. I watched the game the other night. I've watched it back again. I thought Luke Shaw had an absolutely fantastic game. He hardly put a foot wrong, and if you look at the stats, he made more passes than anybody else. He had a better pass completion than anybody else. He made more tackles than anybody else. The stats are out there to back up that Luke Shaw, what I thought I saw, he did have a really good game. I've mentioned Van der Beek already. I want to mention a few things about Van der Beek. What a player he looks. I thought this from the first couple of games. that he come on as a sub, and obviously the League Cup ties, but this was a tougher game. If you look at the 29th minute, and I'm going to put a clip up on Twitter of just a little thing that he did in the 29th minute. It only takes a few seconds, but in a few seconds it encapsulates so much of what Van der Beek's about. We've got the ball, I think it's with Lindelof in like the right centre back, maybe right full back area, and I'm pretty sure it was Lindelof, but that's not the important thing. Van der Beek comes short, looking for the ball just inside his own half, in like an inside right, maybe even right wing position. He receives the ball with his back to goal, so that's a good thing. He's looking, he's not afraid to receive the ball with his back to goal. Some players, they like to lay it off straight away quickly. He takes a touch, brave on the ball, perfectly able to look after it. So he takes a touch. When he takes a touch, if you watch the clip, he turns and looks to play a forward pass. So he's now facing the touchline, and he's looking up the field to play a forward pass. He sees that there isn't a forward pass on. He then takes the ball with the outside of his foot to go back towards the fullback area. When he takes it with the outside of his boot, he hasn't forgotten the position that he's seen the players in field before he turned to look forward. So while he's facing the touchline, he reverses a pass with his left foot in field to Greenwood. It shows superb intelligence. The ball goes straight to Greenwood, and Greenwood manages to get us out. There's 2 or 3 players, opponents in that area, and Greenwood receives the ball from Van der Beek in a bit of space, and it gets us out of trouble. And he shows so many things there, Van der Beek. He shows great skill. He shows great intelligence. He knows where his teammates are when he remembers where his teammate is. He knows where he's going to be without having to look. He's taking a look forward. On the turn, he's then turning back towards his fullback, so he's facing the touchline. He's not looking in field, but he passes the ball in field with his left foot straight to Greenwood. It was a superb piece of play. It really was. I'm hoping that he gets a game at number 10. If he does get a game at number 10, it'll probably mean Bruno will have to play to the right hand side of the diamond. Ollie, I've not obviously in the team that somebody's put forward to me. Pogba's not in that team. The team that I mentioned, I had Pogba to the left. Obviously, Pogba had a perfectly fine game. You can only play 11. People have already picked up on Twitter that it's one of my favourite sayings. We've got a big squad. We've got a lot of good players. I mentioned in the last show that last season Ollie played the exact same team, 4 games on the bounce, exact same team, and now this year he seems to have developed. Ollie seems to be improving as a coach, improving as a manager as he goes along. What he's done in the last few weeks, don't underestimate it. To do so well in 4 games with 3 different, virtually complete. Once you make 3 or 4 changes, it's a completely different lineup. He's used the same team in 2 league games. He used a different lineup at PSG, and yet another different lineup against Leipzig. Against Leipzig, Pogba started. It was the first game that he started. He did perfectly fine. It's easily arguable to say why should he lose his place. He played well enough. As I'll repeat it again. You can only play 11. It isn't a slight against Pogba's game. It isn't a slight against his ability. His work ethic was great the other night. You can only play 11. If you're going to get VDB into the team at number 10, are you going to leave Bruno out? You can't really leave Fred out for his work rate. The 2 defensive players do need to play for me. It's got to be any 2 from McTominay, Matic and Fred. 2 of those 3 players have got to play. You can't fit them all in. So there's no slight against Pogba. He's been coming on for half an hour as a sub. Maybe that could happen again. Don't forget, I included Pogba in my lineup. The person who's mentioned this lineup, and I think he might have a great shout. You might find that Pogba's on the bench again, and you've got Bruno and Fred either side of the diamond with Van der Beek at number 10. It'd be very interesting. Every single match day, not only am I excited about waiting for the game and watching the game, but I'm excited waiting for that hour before the game when the team news comes out. It really does wet me whistle, if you like, for the game. So that's it for today. That should go up. This video should go up on Sunday, I think. If you liked it, tell all your friends. If you didn't, keep stum.